Action reflection is a useful tool technique when you're involved in any kind of process. Take a look at a word ending in ing, that's a process. In this case, we're going to take a look at action reflection as it links to mentoring. Now, it has a wide application. So take what I'm going to share here in this video and see if there are other ways in which you can bring it into living your life, your extraordinary life. Now, the idea here is it's reflection in, on, and before action. That's when it applies. Reflection in. So while you're in the action, in the ing, in the process, you can be reflecting and figure out what's happening and doing some quick adjustments. There's a reflection on action, which usually suggests after an action has been taken to reflect on it, figure out what happened, and what improvements might you make. And then there's reflection before action, which is this preparation approach, preparation checklists that you might pull together to be prepared when you go into the process, into the ing, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. So let's take a look at it in association with mentoring. And what I'm going to do is share with you 5 considerations. These are ideas from my own practice, asking other mentors about their suggestions. And I brought this collection of 5 together because it represented what sort of was being shared most. There are nuances, obviously, to this, but I'm going to share a little bit more of that broad brush approach to action reflection as it applies to mentoring. The first consideration is inform action. So, if you think about it, the action itself, to inform that action, what is it that you need to take into consideration? So, here's some ways of looking at it. You need to take well considered steps, strides, skips. And I'll share a little bit about this here. It's to take well, this notion of being able to think about it from a well-being for the person, well living together. So the well-being for the mentor and the mentee, but the well living of the two together. How is it that you're going to take these well considered? Considered is to give consideration towards, is to put some effort into, okay, this makes sense to move forward. Let's keep going while you're in it. Afterwards, you go, well, that's a practice I could probably put into use again. And before is to think about it, okay, I learned something about that mentee, about their well being and how we're working together from a well living point of view. I've got a better sense of the wellness that's associated here. So, how might I put all of this into some kind of steps? And we think of step A to B to C, or one, two, three. The strides is to suggest there's a little bit more robustness to what it is that you're going to be doing. And you might get to the point of skipping. And I put it in as because I'm laughing here, but I'm also suggesting is sometimes it's fun to actually take, rather than a step or a stride, is to take some other kind of movement and to move forward with that a little bit of lightheartedness, a little bit of simply serious fun. So, this notion of inform action is to take well considered steps, strides, and skips. The next consideration is adapt approach. Now, this is the approach that you're going to take, which is sort of the collection of tools and techniques and the tips that you've heard, and you're going to figure out what makes the most sense for you. Now, this is a little bit of a consideration of there are best practices that you can tap into, and then there's the wise practices that you develop and deliver through your own approach. So, what's happening here is you adjust what you learn and value in the moments of mentoring. So the adjust, another way to look at that is to what corrections might you have to make while you're in it or on it or before it? What kind of pivots might you need to make with that mentee is because it may not be working. So this adjust, correct, pivot, these are all words that based on your learning and the valuing you're putting towards them in the moments that they're happening for the next moments, this is what it means to adapt your approach. You can't go in thinking that the approach I use with person A is going to go with person B. Each mentee you're interacting with has a unique journey and you adventure together. So you've got to think through, well, how am I going to adapt my approach for each mentee? And this is where you have to really tap into the learning, the idea of knowing from that learning that helps you figure out the deciding and doing, the shaping that you're going to work with, and what value do you put on that? Because the value you place on it is a way in which the mentee will experience you. If you put low value on what it is you're doing, the mentee will figure it out pretty quickly, just like you will do the same for the mentee in terms of their response with you. The next consideration is learn continuously. And it goes with a phrase like, what do you continue, stop, and start? There are things that you are learning that you're going to continue. You might along the way go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm going to stop that. That's not working. Or I have to start something else to move it forward. So to extend this, what you're also doing is trying to figure out what do I need to improve, focus, and strengthen for the future action. So even in, on, before, you have to figure out what do I want, what do I need to improve here? What's worth keeping? What's worth moving forward with? What do I need to focus on? What seems to be the truth that I need to continue to bring forward in terms of my interactions with the mentee? What is it that I need to strengthen? Maybe I need to develop something that hasn't been created between the two of us, or even something completely new that I may have to go do some research as the mentor. With the feed forward that you share with the mentee, they may suggest things that are going to inform you about, oh, I'm going to improve this, focus this, and strengthen this. So there's this notion of learn continuously. You continue, stop, and start. Improve, focus, strengthen. These are the words that you want to continue to bring into your life as you are mentoring. The next consideration is envelop expertise. Now, this word envelop is kind of an interesting one. I like it. The notion of envelope is you're putting a note inside an envelope and you would mail it away or give it to the person. What you're attempting to do is just put it into some kind of packaging so that you go, okay, if this is what I know, this is my knowledge, my skills, my attitude that I apply into mentoring, and I'm going to do some learning continuously, then I'm going to continue to envelop that expertise, to grow it in a way that's of value. And therefore, I'm going to craft a stock of successful strategies and tactics. Again, this unique journey with each mentee, it means is that you're going to have lots of different kinds of strategies that you can put into action and the tactics that go with that. So the strategies of the systems, the tactics of the processes that you're going to use. And when you have this stock of it, this repertoire of these strategies and tactics, you can do some mixing and matching to figure out what's actually going to work. And that actually helps you to envelop this expertise that you can draw from. These best practices you've turned into wise practices that you can put into action. That is a really fabulous way of being able to engage with the mentee. And I will suggest to you the mentee will pick up on this stock of strategies and tactics and feel as though you're interacting with them so that you are supporting their unique journey. Yet they do feel this adventure together is happening for them. So the next consideration is to nurture flexibility. There was a time in my life where I had machine guns touch my nose, stuck up my nose, being stopped with soldiers holding machine guns. And I had to really come to appreciate patience, flexibility, and discretion. And this flexibility was one of those words that kept popping up for me because of all the different kinds of situations I found myself in, the different kinds of INGs that I was experiencing, and how to nurture the flexibility in all those different kind of experiences became really important to me. And I carried that over into my mentoring approach. And how do I nurture that flexibility, including patience and discretion that went with it? But this flexibility meant that I really had to reframe and revamp and rescript my mentoring narrative. It sort of links into what I've been hinting at already is each mentee's on a unique journey. You are adventuring together. Therefore, you've got to reframe, revamp, rescript your mentoring narrative for that mentee. But also, it's to keep it fresh for yourself. This notion of a fresh perspective each time you interact with the mentee. So to reframe it is to sort of look at it like you're looking through a window and understanding, okay, what is it that you're seeing? Are you seeing the landscape or are you seeing a portrait of that mentee? The revamping of it, I play with this word a lot because vamp for me means voice, authority, mastery, and position. And therefore, I'm about figuring out what's my voice, my authority, my mastery and position when I'm interacting with that mentee, and then allowing the mentee to share. In a sense, they could become my mentor and help me to improve focus and strengthen my mentoring approach. And the rescripting is it helps me to enliven my narrative, the words that I'm using, because each mentee, certain words are going to spark their interest. For some, you might share words linked with maps and knowledge. Another person may need action and engagement. The words that you're using, that narrative that you're bringing to the mentoring arrangement relationship are really important. And when you have those sort of firing for you, they are really starting to be enjoyable for you and for the mentee, then this is when you really start to appreciate, all right, that you are moving forward together. Yes, you're both on your unique journey. You're adventuring together. You are moving forward. And for me, if I really get a sense that I'm moving forward in my mentoring approach, in my mentoring arrangement, in my mentoring relationship with the mentee, and I truly feel as though I'm moving forward. I'm not going backward. I'm not going completely sideward or anything like that. I am moving forward in full disclosure in ways that we're both being for the world with the planet from the whole. Then I know that the action reflection tool and technique that I'm using is being applied to the advantage of both of us. And when that is happening, then this notion of reflection in, on, and before action gives me the actions that I can take that I can then reflect on. And what that does is it just continues to turn over so that I continue stop and start ways to improve focus and strengthen my mentoring approach. And so, from a perspective of closing off this video, a quick reminder, the importance, yes, we're moving forward, we're using the action reflection and reflecting in, on, and before the action takes place while mentoring. Also, know that you can extend it out into any other ing related word. So, please remember you could go back and listen to this again, take the word mentoring out, and put in the word with an ing that you would like to put in. Now, I also wrote an article. So, for those who enjoy reading and spending a bit of time in text, I'll put a link to an article that I wrote about action reflection. So, you can take that one in as well. I would encourage you, comments are appreciated, and place them below. I do my best to respond to all comments. Again, subscribe, like, share. That's always appreciated. And also visit wealthmovement.com / mentor. There is the international mentoring community. We have videos there linked to the education aspects for certification. And if you wanted to learn a little bit more and take your mentoring to another level, or up level it, upscale it, however you'd like to look at it, that's available to you as well. So, with that, I'm just going to encourage you, maybe go back through, listen again, pull out the nuggets that are going to really apply to you, and put them into action. So, with that, take care.